They said the river was merciful. They lied. In a village where the earth cracked under the weight of secrets and the wind carried whispers of betrayal, a young woman was thrown into sacred waters by the very blood that shared her mother's womb. They believed the river would swallow her. They believed silence would cover their crime. But the river does not forget. And when it returned her to the land of the living, it did not return the same girl they had tried to bury. It returned their worst fear. Kindly subscribe, comment, and support our storytelling channel. Tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? The village of Umudara sat between red hills and a wide, restless river that shimmered like a blade beneath the sun. At dawn, the scent of dry earth mixed with wood smoke curled into the sky. Goats bleated lazily. Pesos struck mortars in steady rhythm. And beyond the marketplace, the sacred river hummed its endless song. That was where they said spirits lived. That was where they said disobedient daughters met their end. Amora had never feared the river. She feared only silence. She was the third daughter of Mama Ifenanya, born during a season of heavy rain. While her elder sisters, Adana and Kesai, were known for their soft voices and lowered gazes, Amora's spirit burned like harmattan fire. "You speak too much," Adana often hissed. "A woman's strength is in her quietness. And a goat's strength is in its rope," Amora would shoot back. "I was not born to be tied." Her words spread through Umudara like spilled palm oil. Elders frowned when she questioned them at the village square. Men avoided her eyes when she laughed too boldly. Even the priest of the sacred grove once warned her. "The ancestors are watching, child," he said, his voice thin as dried leaves. Pride invites ancestral curse. Amora met his gaze without trembling. "If the ancestors are watching, let them see that I live without fear." That day, murmurs followed her home. But her sister's resentment ran deeper than village gossip. It began when the wealthy trader, Obina, returned from the city in his fine linen and leather sandals. He had come seeking a wife. And in Umudara, beauty was currency. Adana had powdered her face with crushed camwood. Kesai had braided her hair in intricate coils. They moved like dancers around Obina, serving him palm wine, laughing at his smallest jokes. But Obina's eyes lingered elsewhere. He watched Amora. Not because she smiled sweetly, but because she did not smile at all. "You are different," he told her one evening by the marketplace fire. "I am not different," Amora replied sharply. "I simply refuse to bend." Obina chuckled, intrigued. And that was the beginning of hatred. In the dim hut they shared, Adana's voice trembled with fury. "You will ruin this for us." "For you," Amora corrected. "If he chooses, let him choose with open eyes." Kesai's jaw tightened. "You think you are better than us?" "I think I am enough," Amora said, turning away. Outside, thunder rumbled over the river. Days later, Obina publicly announced his intention. Not to Adana. Not to Kesai. But to Amora. The village square erupted with whispers. Her sister's humiliation burned hotter than the midday sun. That night, beneath a sky without stars, they called her softly. "Come," Adana said, her voice unusually gentle. "Let us fetch water together. As sisters." Amora hesitated. Something in the air felt wrong. The wind was too still. Even the crickets were silent. But she followed. The path to the river was narrow, lined with tall elephant grass that brushed against their ankles. The scent of wet clay grew stronger as they approached the sacred waters. Moonlight glinted on the surface like scattered silver. At the riverbank, Amora set down her clay pot. "This piece is beautiful," she murmured. "Yes," Kesai said quietly. "Very peaceful." Then hands shoved her. Hard. Amora's scream tore through the night as cold water swallowed her whole. She fought, kicking against the current, but the river was stronger. It pulled her down into darkness. The world above vanished. The sound of her sister's hurried footsteps faded. The sacred river wrapped around her like living arms. Her lungs burned. Her body grew heavy. And just as her vision dimmed, a voice echoed beneath the water. Deep. Ancient. Not human. Child of defiance, you do not belong to death. A sudden warmth surged through her veins. The current shifted. And the river began to change her. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more ancient secrets. Darkness did not feel like death. It felt like waiting. Amora's body sank deeper, yet she did not drown. The cold no longer bit her skin. Instead, warmth coiled around her like unseen fingers. The river no longer roared in her ears, it whispered. Daughter who would not bow. Her eyes fluttered open beneath the water. And somehow, impossibly, she could see. The river glowed from within. Threads of silver light wove through the depths like living veins. Fish hovered around her, unmoving, as though time itself had paused to watch. Who speaks? Amora demanded, though no air filled her lungs. The water trembled. I am the keeper of what is hidden, the voice replied. I am the witness of betrayal. I am the sacred current your people fear. Amora clenched her fist. Even here, in the belly of mystery, her spirit did not kneel. If you are sacred, she said boldly, then you know I was wronged. A deep hum rippled through the water. Yes. Images burst before her eyes, Adana's trembling hands. Kesai's hardened stare. The push. The lie they would tell by morning. They will say you slipped, the river murmured. They will cry before the elders. They will speak of misfortune. Amora's jaw tightened. Then send me back. I will expose them. Silence followed. Then laughter. Low and ancient. You still think like the living. A current wrapped around her waist, lifting her gently. Before her, the water parted, revealing a figure shaped from liquid light, neither man nor woman, neither old nor young. Its form shifted like reflections under moonlight. The world above does not reward truth, it said. It rewards power. Amora's eyes blazed. Then give me power. The figure tilted its shimmering head. Power comes with price. Name it, she replied instantly. The river swirled faster, forming spirals around them. The scent of wet earth intensified, even underwater. The drums of Umudora seemed to echo faintly from far above. You will return, the river said. But not as they remember you. You will carry my mark. You will walk between breadth and depth. Those who wronged you will see what they fear most. Amora did not flinch. And the price? You will never again belong fully to the land. For the first time, hesitation flickered across her face. Meaning? You will feel the pull of water in your veins. You will hear my voice when others hear silence. And when the time comes, you must choose, vengeance or balance. Amora's heart pounded. I choose justice. The figure's form brightened. Justice and vengeance are twins, it replied softly. Be certain which one you feed. Above them, lightning cracked across the sky. The river surged. Pain shot through Amora's limbs, not the pain of injury, but of transformation. Her skin shimmered faintly. Her hair fanned out like dark seaweed. A symbol, glowing faint blue, etched itself along her collarbone, a spiral, ancient and fluid. She gasped, but breathed water as easily as air. Rise, commanded the river. The current shot upward. At dawn, Umudora awoke to chaos. Fishermen had gathered at the riverbank, shouting. Women dropped their clay pots. Children clung to their mothers' wrappers. Because standing at the edge of the sacred water was Amora. Alive. Her dress clung to her form, but not a single scratch marked her skin. Her eyes, once warm brown, now held a depth like dark tides. And when she stepped forward, droplets fell from her body, yet the hem of her dress remained dry. Adana fainted on the spot. Kesai staggered backward. "It is not possible," someone whispered. The village priest pushed through the crowd, clutching his staff. His gaze locked onto the faint blue spiral glowing at her collarbone. "The river has touched her," he breathed. Amora said nothing at first. She simply scanned the faces before her, the pity, the fear, the guilt. Her eyes stopped on her sisters. "You pushed me," she said calmly. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Adana fell to her knees. "She lies. She is possessed." Amora tilted her head slightly. "Possessed," she repeated, her voice carrying strangely, as though layered with an echo. A sudden wind whipped across the river. The water behind her rose unnaturally, forming a wall that shimmered in the morning sun. Children screamed. The priest trembled. "Child, what have you become?" Amora's gaze hardened. "I became what betrayal created." The river behind her surged higher, reflecting the terror in her sister's eyes. And for the first time since that night, they understood. They had not thrown her to death. They had thrown her to something far worse. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more ancient secrets. By sunset, Umudara no longer smelled of roasted yam and palm oil. It smelled of fear. No one said Amora's name aloud. Mothers pulled their children indoors when she passed. Even the goats, stubborn creatures that feared nothing but hunger, scattered when her shadow stretched across the red earth. But Amora did not hide. She walked straight through the marketplace, chin lifted, eyes steady, the faint blue spiral at her collarbone glowing like trapped lightning beneath her skin. "Look at me," she commanded when whispers rose behind her. The whispers died instantly. Adana and Kesai remained inside their mother's hut, refusing to step outside. They claimed illness. They claimed spiritual attack. They claimed anything but guilt. Yet at night, they heard it. Water. Dripping. Though their floor was dry. The first sign came 3 days after Amora's return. The sky had been clear. The air dry. The harmattan wind carried dust across the fields. But suddenly, dark clouds gathered directly above Adana's portion of farmland. Rain poured only there, drenching her crops while the surrounding land remained untouched. By morning, her yam vines had rotted into blackened threads. "It is coincidence," Kesai insisted, though her voice trembled. But coincidence came again. The next evening, as Kesai prepared soup over the fire, the pot began to boil violently. Water spilled over though no flame touched its base. The firewood beneath it was cold. Then the water rose upward. Floating. Spinning like a small, angry storm. Kesai screamed. Amora stood in the doorway. "I warned you," she said quietly. "You are evil." Adana cried, rushing forward. "You have brought an ancestral curse upon this house." Amora's eyes flashed like a storm tide. "No," she replied sharply. "You did." She stepped fully into the hut. The scent of wet clay followed her, though her feet left no footprints. "You thought the river would bury your secret," Amora continued, her voice gaining force. "You thought silence would protect you." Kesai shook her head violently. "We were desperate. You were taking everything. Everything." Amora's laughter cut through the air like a blade. "Was I taking your beauty? Your voice? Or was I taking the courage you never had?" Adana's hands trembled. "Obina would have chosen me if not for you. If not for me." Amora snapped. "Or if not for your fear." The water hovering above the pot began to swirl faster. Outside, thunder rumbled though the sky remained clear. Mama Ifunanya stumbled between them, tears streaking her face. "Enough. You are sisters. Sisters do not drown sisters," Amara replied coldly. The spiral on her collarbone pulsed brighter. Suddenly, water seeped from the hot walls. Thin streams at first, then thicker. The clay softened beneath their feet. The entire structure groaned. Adana fell to her knees. Please, stop this. Amora's breathing grew heavier. The river's voice echoed faintly in her mind. Justice and vengeance are twins. Her hands trembled, not from weakness, but from power barely contained. Do you feel it? She asked softly. That helplessness. That terror of something stronger pulling you down. Kesai began to sob. Yes, she screamed. We feel it. The hut tilted slightly as water poured around their ankles. Mama Ifenanya clutched Amora's wrapper. My daughter, if you destroy them, you destroy yourself. The words struck deeper than any blade. For a moment, the water paused. Amora's jaw tightened. Her eyes glistened, not with river light, but with something human. You chose to end me, she said, voice shaking. Why should I choose mercy? Silence filled the hut. Adana pressed her forehead to the wet floor. Because we are weak, she whispered. And you are not. The storm inside Amara roared. She could end this now. Let the hut collapse. Let the river claim what it was owed. The village would never doubt her power again. The river's voice hummed in her mind. Be certain which twin you feed. Amora inhaled slowly. Then raised her hand. The water froze midair. Her sisters held their breath. And in that suspended moment, Amora made her choice. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more ancient secrets. The night came quietly to Umudara, but it carried a weight no one had anticipated. Even the wind seemed hesitant, slowing its passage through the red hills and bending the tall elephant grass as if in reverence or fear. The village that had once laughed and danced to the rhythm of drums now slept uneasily, doors bolted, windows shuttered, and children pressed against their mother's chests. Amora did not sleep. She walked the riverbank under the silver moon, the faint spiral at her collarbone glowing softly, casting streaks of pale blue across the water. The river moved around her like a living presence, its currents whispering secrets only she could hear. Every ripple carried voices of the past, the laughter she had lost, the betrayal she had endured, and the promise she had made to the river, justice. Tonight, the river's whispers grew louder, insistent. They do not understand fear, it murmured. They need to see it. They need to learn. Amora's eyes narrowed. Then let them see it. Behind her, shadows shifted. Two figures emerged from the dark path leading from her mother's hut. Adana and Kesai, daring or perhaps desperate, enough to confront her under the cover of night. Their eyes were wide, shimmering with fear, their hands trembling as they clutched each other's arms. You cannot do this forever, Adana stammered. The elders, the river, they will punish you. Amora's smile was thin, sharp. The river has already marked me. I am its child now. Punishment belongs to those who deserve it. She lifted her hands, palms open. The river responded instantly. A mist rose from its surface, curling around her like ethereal serpents. Kesai gasped, stepping backward. Please, we didn't mean to. Silence, Amara commanded. Her voice rolled over them like distant thunder. Do you think your apologies can wash away what you tried to do? Do you think your fear is enough? Adana fell to her knees. We are sorry. Please, sister, mercy. Amora's eyes glimmered like molten obsidian. The river hissed around her ankles, droplets rising and swirling, forming shapes of shadowy figures. The mist thickened, carrying whispers of every wrong done against her, twisting them into voices her sisters could not escape. Look, she said softly, but every word was heavy with power. Look at what fear feels like. The shadows in the mist began to shift, taking shapes familiar to Adana and Kesai, their deepest insecurities, their worst imaginings. Faces they had tried to hide even from themselves stared back, distorted and angry. The air was heavy, tasting of iron and the cold bite of night water. The river's hum pulsed through their chest. "Stop this! Stop!" Adana screamed. Her knees dug into the damp earth. "We will do anything. Anything." Amara stepped closer, and each footfall left no mark, yet the earth seemed to shiver under her presence. "You will not be spared by promises. You will be spared only by understanding. Do you understand what it feels like to be pushed into death and left for the river to decide your fate?" Kesai shook violently. We understand. Please, we understand." Amora's gaze softened slightly, but the river's voice remained insistent. "Be certain which twin you feed. Justice or vengeance." She extended a hand. Mist coiled around it, forming shapes that reached toward the sisters, yet paused just short of touching them. "Tonight I teach you fear, not to destroy you, but to awaken you. Never again will betrayal be taken lightly in this village." The sisters wept, shivering under the moonlight, drenched in sweat even though the night air was dry. They had faced their worst fears and found them real, not imagined. And standing among the water and shadows, Amara remained untouchable, defiant, radiant with the river's power. Above them, the moon gleamed brighter, illuminating the spiral on her collarbone. It paused once. Twice. And then, as though the river itself had spoken, the mist slowly receded, returning to the water. Silence settled over the riverbank, thick and complete. Amara looked at her sisters, not with anger, but with the weight of lessons learned. "Remember this night," she said. "It is not your death that matters, but the choices you make when power and fear meet." Her sisters could only nod, broken but alive, humbled by the force they had tried to deny. And far beneath the river's surface, the currents whispered to each other, the child of defiance had chosen her path. Justice had been served, but vengeance still lingered, waiting for the moment it would demand more. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more ancient secrets.
The village of Omadara woke to an uneasy dawn. Birds dared not sing, and the smoke from cooking fires curled straight into the sky, as though even the wind feared to move. Word of what had occurred by the riverbank the previous night had spread like wildfire. Mothers whispered it to children, elders muttered it in the market, fishermen refused to cast their nets near the water. But Amara walked through it all with her head held high, her steps silent yet commanding. The spiral on her collarbone glowed faintly, pulsing with each heartbeat, a living reminder of the river's pact. Every eye that followed her carried a mixture of awe and terror. Her sisters remained huddled together in Mama Ifunanya's hut, pale and trembling. The memory of their fear, crystallized in the shapes the river had summoned, haunted them. They had learned, painfully, that the river's touch was not mercy, it was revelation. Amara paused at the edge of the river. She knelt, trailing her fingertips through the water. It rippled in response, warm, alive, as if acknowledging her command. The river's voice hummed in her mind. The time has come. Choose the twin. She rose, facing the village. The crowd that had gathered was silent, watching. The elder's eyes flicked between her and the sacred waters. No one dared speak first. "I am Amara," she declared, her voice ringing across the red soil. "The river gave me life when you sought to take it. It gave me power when you sought to bind me. But it did not give me vengeance freely. It gave me choice. And I have chosen justice." Gasps rose from the crowd. The river behind her swelled slightly, sparkling in the morning sun, yet calm. Its light danced across her skin, making her seem almost unreal, like a vision of an ancient story come to life. She turned to her sisters, their faces pale and haunted. "You wanted me gone. You tried to bury me in these waters. But I returned, not to destroy, but to awaken. The fear you felt last night, remember it. Let it guide your hands, your words, your hearts. Betrayal is a chain. Break it before it binds you again. Adana and Kasai could barely speak. Finally, Kasai whispered, We understand. Truly, we understand. Amara nodded once, sharply. Then let this be the last lesson the river needs to teach through me. We are bound by blood. Let it also bind us in loyalty, in truth, and in courage. The crowd watched as she stepped fully into the water. The current rose to meet her, swirling around her ankles, then knees, then waist. Her form shimmered and shifted subtly, water dancing along the contours of her figure, yet she did not sink. The river seemed to embrace her, acknowledging her choices, her strength, and her mercy. For a long moment, the world held its breath. Then the river receded, leaving Amara standing firmly on the bank, dry, glowing, indomitable. She had returned the power of fear into its rightful place, not to punish endlessly, but to teach, to correct, to protect. The elders approached cautiously, bowing their heads in respect. The village priest stepped forward, his voice trembling. Child of the river, you have honored its gift, and our village shall never forget the justice you carry. Amara looked at the assembled villagers. Her eyes, deep and unyielding, pierced each of them. Remember this, she said softly but firmly. The river listens. The river remembers. And so do I. Choose wisely, for every choice carries consequence. Mama Ifunanya emerged from the crowd, tears streaking her face. She pressed her hands together in gratitude, voice quivering. My daughter, you have turned fear into wisdom. May the ancestors bless you. Amara's lips curved into a small, fierce smile. I serve neither fear nor blind obedience. I serve the river, and through it, I serve truth. The villagers slowly began to disperse, leaving Amara alone at the riverbank. She knelt, pressing her palms to the water once more, feeling the pulse of life, power, and ancient memory beneath her fingers. The river whispered again, gentle now, approving. Justice has been served. Balance is restored for now. Amara rose, straight and defiant, her gaze fixed on the horizon. The red hills glowed faintly in the early light, the village behind her silent, but changed forever. She had become the river's child, their protector, their reminder that courage and defiance could shape fate itself. If you have come this far, it means you truly love the wisdom of our ancestors. Please like our story, share it with someone who needs to hear this lesson, and subscribe. Your support keeps these legends alive.